Hey Mixers, welcome back to another NFL video. Today we're going to go through all of the week 4 game sides, totals, and spreads. Usually I get this video out a little bit earlier, but I didn't this week. So some of those lines, unfortunately, I did not get the best line on some of them, but on some of them they did move in the direction that I like, so I maybe even got a bit of a better line. So kind of all works out. We're also going to review, some other previous props from the week and also give away some cash prizes. So let's jump into that. All right, so let's go ahead and spin this wheel. And it looks like we have Julio Medina, 6232. He said Aaron Rodgers over 1.5 touchdowns and Breece Hall receiving yards is smacking. And those did hit. Also, I just want to point out that I did not have anyone. I had one person comment on the last minute video we did on Saturday, right before, with a bunch of last minute props. The props that person chose didn't hit, but we only had one person even bother to enter the contest. So keep an eye out for those videos because you could probably win something pretty easily on some of those, especially these NFL videos where I have a lot of picks that I give out. All right, I wanted to show you a couple other things that I hit that I obviously didn't share. So I had bet on the 49ers to start 3-0 way back in like July, and that was plus 225, so that paid out. And then I wanted to show you how I use these fumble props. So with the fumble props, there were like 4 of them that did actually fumble. So my big, long 7-leg parlay of fumble props did not hit, but I also took these 2 slips here. This one paid out a little over 5x. This one over here paid out almost 5x. And so I'm just telling you, there's a lot of value in these fumble props. I mean, it's just luck, which ones you're going to hit, which ones you're not going to hit. But it's kind of worth it to throw in a couple of these, on a couple of slips every week, in my opinion. And then I wanted to show you my record. So this is like from last year to this year, because there's a lot of bets that I don't give out on the channel that I'm putting in on the side, like big long parlays or just like alt line parlays, stuff like that. And so I just wanted to, and you also have to zoom out to get some perspective. So last year, I had a pretty good start, and then like week 2, week 3 was bad for me. This year, I had a really big week 1, because I had a couple huge parlays hit. So I was just lucky. And then, so far I'm doing a little bit better than last year. And then I wanted to show you specifically weeks 11 through 16. So basketball starts right around week 8, right? So if you look at like week 8 week 8 through week 16, I made profit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 9 of those weeks last year, because once they start doing NBA props and hockey props and baseball playoff props and football props and college football props, there's just a lot of edges that we can take advantage of that the books aren't as fast to fix. So just wanted to point that out. And then I did end the year last year about 92 units up, if you stop counting like after the Super Bowl week. So hopefully we can do a little bit better than that this year. That's what the goal is, to get a little bit better every year, but you're going to have down years, of course. So here is the review of all of the game totals, sides, and spreads that I gave out last week. If anyone tells you they had a really good week, they're lying, because there were so many wild upsets, so many big blowouts that were not counted on. But we did okay. I obviously don't bet on every single one of these. I will show you the ones I bet on. So here are the player props that I gave out. I actually had a really good week with the player props. But ironically, my player props were paired up so badly this week that I actually did not do well in the player prop department, versus last week when my player props were not as good, but they were paired up like perfectly on my parlays. So I ended up with a profit. So kind of interesting how that all works out. But I did great on the player props. We did pretty good on the leans, a little bit over 500 here. Bonus bets, we hit one, we missed one. Jonnu Smith hooked us, so he just needed one more reception. But Aaron Rodgers did get there. And then I had some leans from Monday night's game. One hit, one didn't. I was just kind of throwing some stuff out there. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen in that game. And I only bet a half a unit. So I put these 2 together, lost a half a unit today. No big deal. All right, these are the game bets that I made last week. We had our first profitable week on the game bets, mostly thanks to this giant money line parlay that we hit. We took the Bills, the Seahawks, the Chiefs, and the Vikings. and that paid out plus 220. So that paid for all of the losses and then some. But we still are down a third of a unit on the season for the game bets. Touchdowns were bad. I love touchdowns, even though they're very hard to hit. What I'm going to start doing in the future is I am going to just do a half a unit on the touchdowns and probably a quarter unit on the touchdown parlays moving forward. So we'll see, but that's probably going to be the idea so that I don't lose too much money doing these touchdown calls. The other thing you can do is if you're betting on DFS apps, if you think someone could get a touchdown, but you also think they could get 100 receiving yards, then you could just bet on their fantasy score, and it's a little bit safer because they could either get the touchdown or they could get it through yardage or receptions, and you could hit it kind of multiple ways. Obviously, it's not going to pay out as much as these plus money touchdowns will, but that is one other way to look at things. All right, this is just the stuff that I went over last week that is like I didn't give out the lines, but I just wanted to tell you these might be good to bet on. Nico Collins did hit 100 yards. I told you could bet on that for plus 272. I did end up betting on that, but I paired it with a promo, like an app promo, and the promo didn't hit. So unfortunately, I did not get that one. But Ashton Genty did have a pretty good game. I mean, it was decent. He went over his line. Jalen Hurts went over his passing yards line. Mac Jones went over his passing yards line. Stafford did not, and then the Broncos just had a miserable game. So those last two, didn't hit. So let's go through the games for this week. We're going to start with Seattle coming to Arizona. Obviously, this is a division matchup. The Cardinals are the favorites. The Seahawks have had the Cardinals number. They have won the past 7 head-to-head games, which is just insane to think about. But that's how it's been. The totals in Arizona have been high, 48, 41, 52, 68. This total is 43.5. The spreads have been 12, 1, 10, and 8, and this spread is 1.5 favoring the Cardinals. I think that either team could win this, so I don't really have any strong feelings one way or the other. I'm just going to take Arizona and Arizona minus 1.5, and then the under 43.5. I do need Arizona to win one more game, either this week or next week, to hit a long-term bet that I had for them to win exactly 3 out of the first 5. So kind of a weird, wild bet, but I need them either to have this one or the next one, but not both, and don't lose both either. I do like the under the best in this game just because I think this is a pretty good defense going up against another pretty good defense, and it's a division rivalry. So I actually do like the under here, but I have not bet it. All right, Minnesota going to Pittsburgh, but this really is going to be in Ireland. So it's probably going to be rainy. It usually is in Ireland. When it first opened, you could get a plus spread on either team, like it was a pick 'em, like whichever one you wanted. But now the Vikings are clearly the favorites, but only by like 1.5 to 2.5 points. But like I can't find the pick 'em anymore. When it came out, I found the Vikings at plus money for the money line. I didn't take it, but they were both plus money, the Steelers and the Vikings, which was weird because I've never seen that before. I've seen them both be minus money, but I don't think I've ever seen them both be plus money before. Anyway, they haven't played since 2021, so it's been a while. The Vikings did win at home by 8 in that one. It was a high-scoring game. Obviously, these are completely different players. The Steelers are averaging 23.3 points per game and allowing 26.3. The Vikings are averaging 27 points per game and allowing only 18.7. So I make this like a 24-20 game or like a 2017 game, possibly, something like that. So I do think this total line is pretty good, like pretty close to what it's going to be. So I would lean over, but could end up being like 2017 and we missed by 1 point. So I'm leaning on Minnesota money line, Minnesota minus 2.5 now. It was plus 2.5. I found it originally, but it's minus now, so I will put that in there. I'll still lean towards Minnesota. And then Washington going to Atlanta. These teams have played once a year going back to 2021. The Falcons have lost all 4 of these games. The totals in Atlanta were 40 and 60, so they were very high totals, and the spreads were 6 and 4. But these are different teams, obviously. The Falcons have averaged only 14 points per game this year and allowed 19.7. The Commanders have averaged 26.7 points per game this year and allowed 19. So I put it down as a 24-17 score. I got to lean Washington on the money line, Washington minus 2.5, and the under 45.5. Although it really wouldn't surprise me if the Falcons really got up for this game at home after losing to a division rival on the road, and and won this one outright. But I am leaning towards Washington. All right, New Orleans at Buffalo. Spread is 16.5. These two teams have not played since 2021. The Bills won 31-6 in New Orleans. The Saints are scoring only 15.7 points per game and allowing 30. The Bills are scoring 34 points per game and allowing 23.7. So I do think that the Saints have a hard time scoring here. I'm seeing like a 27-13, but it obviously could be more. Like, I do think Buffalo could get over 30 easily. But my only thing here is, maybe they get up big, like quickly, like how Seattle did, and then Josh Allen doesn't play the second half. I mean, that's what they did that last year in a division game against Miami. So they're not above sitting Josh Allen if they have the game well in hand. And then that could provide an opportunity for the Saints to catch up a little bit. All right, I'm going to lean towards the under on that one. Bills on the money line, Saints on the spread, just because it's such a big spread and maybe they get a backdoor cover. All right, Cleveland at Detroit. These teams last played in 2021, so it's been a while. The Lions lost 13-10 in Cleveland. The Browns are scoring 15.3 points per game and allowing 22.7, but most of those points were in the Ravens game that they played. So really, they allowed 10 on Green Bay and 17 on the Bengals. So against a high-powered team like the Lions, it probably will be similar to the Ravens, who scored 41. And so, it could be close to 30, in my opinion. Lions are scoring 32.5 points per game. That is not including tonight's game, and allowing 24, which again is not including tonight's game. The leans, I'm leaning with Detroit. Detroit on the money line, Detroit on the spread. I do think Detroit can cover the spread better than Green Bay can cover the spread, and of course they'll be playing at home. I'll take the under though, gladly. Under 45.5 for me on this score. All right, Carolina at New England. This has opened up. I believe it opened up at 3.5. Now it's 5.5, or maybe it was only 4.5, but now it's 5.5. These two teams haven't played since 2021. Starting to see a theme there. Panthers lost by 18 at home in that matchup. Patriots are only scoring 20 points per game and allowing 22.7, so they're playing some pretty close games. Panthers are scoring 20.7 points per game and allowing 17.7. So I'm seeing 21-17 here. I'm going to take New England on the money line, but Carolina to make it interesting, plus 5.5, under 44.5 on the total. It is starting to move down already, or maybe it's actually no. This one's moving up. This one started at 43.5, and it's moving up. But I like the under here. This could be a teaser candidate, and I did put this in a teaser, I put it in a teaser, like an alt line teaser. All right, Los Angeles Chargers at the New York Giants. These two teams haven't played since 2021. The Chargers won at home, 37-21. Chargers are scoring 23.3 points per game and allowing 16.7, so they are playing to the under. Giants are scoring 17.3 points per game and allowing 27.7. So I see 23-14 as the score here. Give me the Chargers, moneyline Chargers to cover on the 5.5 spread and the under 45. And I would, you could put the Chargers in as like a moneyline parlay candidate, but I couldn't find two other teams that I liked. And the only two that I liked didn't get me to plus money. So I didn't end up doing a moneyline parlay this week yet. All right, Philadelphia Eagles going to Tampa Bay, spreads 3.5. These teams have played 3 times with these quarterbacks, once in the postseason. The Bucs are 2-1 in that series. All the home teams won in all 3 of these games. The totals in Tampa Bay were 49-41. Spreads were 17-23. Eagles are scoring 25.7 points per game and allowing 21. Bucs are scoring 24 points per game and allowing 22. So almost identical numbers here. So I see 24-21. And this reminds me of the Rams backdoor. I was on the Rams on the spread there. I had not bet it though, and of course they would have covered if not for that touchdown right at the end. So I mean, even if the field goal got blocked, they still would have covered. So I put this in a teaser. I don't think I did, but you could put this in a teaser. I like Tampa Bay, so I'm on the Tampa Bay side for everything. The over 43.5. And I like Tampa Bay in a teaser as well. All right, Tennessee at Houston. Texans have won 4 of the last 5, but I mean, the Titans have been miserable, so it's not that impressive. In Houston, the totals have been 59 and 29 between these teams. The spreads were 5 and 23. Texans are scoring 12.7 points per game, allowing 17. Titans are scoring 17 points per game and allowing 31. Give me the Tennessee Titans. So I put Tennessee in a alt line teaser. I also took them on the money line, just a little sprinkle. And I do like the under as well. The Texans have been miserable. I think the Titans can score on them. And, maybe the Texans still win. I think they could win at home, especially when they're 0-3 and they're at home and they really need this one. I do think they could win the game. I also think it's possible that Tennessee wins the game. And that price, I love the price. So for that price, I just want to give it a shot. Just a small sprinkle. All right. Indianapolis going to the LA Rams. Rams are the favorites. Let's see. So these two teams did play last year, 2 years ago, and then 2 years before that. The Rams won both, and both of them were in Indy, so they haven't played in LA. The Rams are scoring 24.3 points per game and allowing 18. The Colts are scoring 34.3 points per game and allowing 18.7. So I see like a 27-23 here, maybe like a 27-28, something like that. I do like the over 48.5. I do ignore that at the bottom. I don't know where that came from, but just ignore it. The total's 48.5, and I do like the over, and it is going up. I like Indianapolis on the money line, and Indianapolis plus 3.5. Like, I have had Daniel Jones on my bench since week 1, just because, I thought, hey, maybe he's good. They have all the pieces. I love their wide receivers. And so I've had him on the bench in one of my fantasy leagues since the beginning. And I have just been too scared to put him in. Even though he's played 3 great weeks in a row, I have not put him in. So I don't know if I'm going to put him in for this game either, but he's been playing great. Give me the Colts, especially, for some plus money. All right, Jacksonville at San Francisco. The 49ers have won this series 2 years ago and 2 years before that as well. Those were both in Jacksonville. This one is in San Francisco. I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play. It doesn't really matter to me. The Jaguars are miserable. Like Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. are not clicking. Trevor Lawrence and his new head coach are not clicking. I don't like what's going on in Jacksonville. It's bad vibes. Give me the 49ers on the money line, on the spread, under 47. And I see like a 24-20 game, and I think the Jags will be lucky to put up 20. All right, Baltimore at Kansas City. We just saw them lose to Detroit. Although I made this before that game was finished, or even started, so I didn't know that was going to happen. Obviously, I do expect the Chiefs to get up at home and try to win this one. I just don't know if they can. They've been playing so badly. So for now, I have to lean with the Ravens on everything. Ravens money line, Ravens minus 2.5. I'll take the under 48.5. I've been taking the under on the Ravens games every week. I haven't not been betting it, but I've been leaning that way, and I've been wrong every week. So maybe fade me on that one, or maybe just take the over. But that is where I'm leaning here, and I see 27-21. All right, Chicago at Las Vegas. This is a pick 'em, so you can decide who you want as the for plus money or plus on the spread. Well, they're both minus money on the money line, but you can get either one plus on the spread. So that's what I did. I took the Bears. So Bears money line, Bears plus 1.5. I like the under 48. The Raiders have been giving out a lot of points and playing to the over, except in that Chargers game. And then the Bears have also been playing to the over. So everyone's going to be betting the over. I'll just take the under. I did not place the bet, but I did put Chicago in a teaser. So we'll look at that in a minute. Green Bay at Dallas. This matchup is crazy. The lines are moving way up. The spread started at 6.5. Now it's at 7. I do expect it to keep going. The total 47.5. I expect that to go up. They're giving us 275 on Dallas. So I'm taking Dallas for 275. And I haven't bet that yet. I want to see if I can get to 300. And then I might take it. Dallas plus 7 is the lean, under 47.5. I don't think this is going to be the high-flying game that everybody thinks it is. I don't think it's going to get over 50. I do think it gets close to this total, but I'm going to take the under. And yeah, I'll just take Dallas to win it. I mean, I do think Green Bay is the better team. Green Bay has owned Dallas, you know, in all of their head-to-heads, but not all of them, but, you know, for the last like 5 of them or something like that. And we all remember that playoff game from a couple years ago. That was brutal for Dallas fans. But anyway, I don't know. I'm not passing up that money. That's crazy money for a team that could win. I mean, I don't think they will, but I like the money. All right, Jets at Miami. The Miami Dolphins are the favorites here. I don't know how that happened. I'm not taking them. I'll take the Jets on the money line. Jets plus 2.5, over 44.5. 24-23 is what I see the score. I mean, this could be a really ugly game and be low scoring, or it could be like the highest scoring game on the slate this week, which is kind of where I'm leaning. So Jets are scoring 23 points per game and allowing 31. Dolphins are scoring 18.7 points per game and allowing 32. So yeah, I think we could get to like 50 here on the total. All right, Cincinnati at Denver on Monday. This one is kind of weird. Like Cincinnati has won the last 2 head-to-heads in 2024 and 2021. Joe Burrow played in both of those games. The Bengals are scoring 19.3 points per game and allowing 30.3. Broncos are only scoring 22.7 points per game and allowing 21.3. So give me 27-17. I'll take the over. I think Denver on the money line, Denver on the spread. I know that the Titans covered this. The Titans covered this in week 1 against the Broncos in Denver. But I think that Denver's one of those teams that takes a minute to get going, kind of like the Bengals. So I think they're kind of rolling now. You know, they probably should have won that game against the Chargers. And I think they're going to beat up on this bad team. And so I think the score gets run up. And I also don't think the Bengals can keep it close. So Denver is a moneyline parlay candidate for me, but the juice is just too much. So the juice it didn't make sense for me to bet on it this week. All right, so I only have the teaser, guys. For right now, I only have the teaser. So plus 143 for a half unit for Tennessee, plus 14.5 at Houston. So these are all road teams. Carolina plus 10.5 at New England. Chicago plus 7.5 at the Raiders. And then I did bet on a couple plus money touchdowns. Garrett Wilson for a touchdown against the Dolphins. Chuba Hubbard for plus money against New England. Which, how do you score 30 points to your opponent's 0 and Chuba Hubbard and Tetairoa McMillan both don't get a touchdown? That's just ridiculous. Rico Dowdle did get a touchdown, so he stole Chuba Hubbard's touchdown. And then I did a touchdown parlay for plus 111. Christian McCaffrey and James Cook to get touchdowns. So Christian McCaffrey is playing the, gosh darn it, now I forgot, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then James Cook is playing the Saints. Wow, it's way too late. I need to go to bed. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. What we're going to do for the cash giveaway for this video, if you've made it this far or if you just skipped to the end, what we're doing for the cash giveaway is, since these are all plus money, just pick one. You only have to pick one of these that you think is going to hit. And if it does, then you'll be in for the cash giveaway. The teaser counts as one bet, and the touchdown parlay counts as one bet, obviously. So you can't just choose Christian McCaffrey at minus 290 to score a touchdown. You know, that's not how this works. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And you can screenshot this if you want. These are all the game bets that I just went over. All right, thanks guys. So looking forward to another great NFL week, although I do not like the matchups this week. Thanks.